Karma usually takes a long time to catch up with bad people, but this story is different. A brilliant engineer named Anna had her life's work stolen by her corrupt boss, Victoria. Victoria used her power to silence Anna, threaten her career, and steal a massive financial bonus. She thought the corporate world only favored the loud and the greedy. But the tables turned in a single afternoon. When Elon Musk arrived to inspect the new project, he didn't want to talk to the executives. He demanded to see the code. And when Victoria couldn't answer his basic questions, Elon realized a crime had been committed. He stopped the entire meeting and demanded to speak with the real genius. Get ready for a highly satisfying story about truth, justice, and the ultimate sweet revenge. Watch the whole story unfold right now. Before we dive into Anna's journey, please take a quick moment to subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a story. And leave a comment below letting us know where you are watching this video from. We love reading where our community comes from. Anna was never someone who chased the spotlight. She loved the quiet comfort of logic, math, and problem solving. While other people spent their office hours gossiping by the water cooler or playing corporate politics, Anna sat at her desk. Her fingers danced across her keyboard. To her, aerospace design wasn't just a job. It was an art form. She had been with the company, Nexus Tech, for 6 years. In that time, she had watched less capable people climb the ladder ahead of her. It didn't bother her much. She was paid well enough, and she loved the work. But things changed when Nexus Tech began to struggle financially. The market was shifting quickly. The company's main aerospace manufacturing platform was growing old and slow. It required massive physical costs just to keep running. The company's profit margins were shrinking fast. The board of directors was getting nervous. Rumors of mass layoffs began to whisper through the hallways. People were terrified for their jobs. Anna decided she couldn't just sit by and watch the ship sink. She knew the design systems inside and out. She knew their flaws. More importantly, she knew how to fix them. She envisioned a brand new architecture for satellite propulsion. It was a radical idea. It would completely redesign how fuel flowed through the system. If it worked, it would cut the company's operational costs by a staggering 40%. It would also make the spacecraft 10 times more efficient. She knew she couldn't build this during her regular working hours. She still had her daily tasks to complete. So Anna made a choice. She began working a second shift at home. Every night, after a long day at the office, she would brew a fresh pot of coffee. She sat at her kitchen table until the early hours of the morning. She drew blueprints. She built digital prototypes. She tested material stress loads. Months turned into a full year. Her eyes were constantly heavy with fatigue. Her social life disappeared. Her friends stopped calling because she was always too busy. But she didn't care. She was driven by a burning passion to create something truly great. Finally, after 14 months of exhausting work, the project was finished. She called it Project Phoenix. It was a masterpiece of modern engineering. It was clean, elegant, and incredibly efficient. Anna wrapped the entire project into a beautiful, easy-to-understand presentation. She included live demonstrations and clear financial projections. She was incredibly proud. She couldn't wait to show the world what she had built. Anna knew she needed to follow the proper corporate channels to present her idea. She couldn't just send an email to the CEO. She needed the backing of an executive. That brought her straight to Victoria, the chief financial officer. Victoria was a terrifying presence in the company. She was always dressed in flawless, expensive designer suits. Her hair was pulled back into a tight, perfect bun. She never smiled unless a camera was pointed at her. Victoria didn't know anything about aerospace engineering. She didn't understand physics, but she understood power and she understood money. She was ruthless. She had survived multiple corporate shakeups by throwing other people under the bus. Anna scheduled a private meeting with Victoria. She walked into the grand, glass-walled corner office with a racing heart. Her hand shook slightly as she plugged her laptop into the large presentation screen. Thank you for seeing me, Victoria, Anna said softly. I have something that can save this company. Victoria looked up from her phone, her expression bored. Make it quick, Anna. My time is very expensive. Anna took a deep breath and began. She didn't talk in complex technical jargon. She explained the project in simple, powerful terms. She showed how the current system was wasting millions of dollars. Then, she revealed Project Phoenix. She clicked through her slides, showing the working prototype. She showed the exact numbers. She proved how it would save the company $40 million in the very first year. As Anna spoke, Victoria's bored expression completely vanished. Her eyes widened. She leaned forward in her leather chair. Her sharp mind instantly realized the value of what she was looking at. This wasn't just a good idea. This was a career-making miracle. This was the kind of achievement that could launch an executive into the global spotlight. When Anna finished, she looked at Victoria, waiting for praise. Victoria sat in silence for a long moment. She tapped her expensive pen against the desk. Then a cold, calculated smile formed on her lips. This is interesting, Anna, Victoria said, keeping her voice flat. It has some potential, but it is very raw. It is full of holes and structural risks. If I showed this to the board right now, they would laugh you out of the room. Anna's heart dropped. Holes? Where? I tested the material stresses extensively. You are an engineer, Anna. You don't understand high-level business strategy, Victoria said smoothly, standing up. Leave the files with me. Leave your laptop and all your blueprints on my secure drive. I will need to rewrite the entire proposal. I will have to fix your mistakes and shape this into something viable. Do not speak to anyone else about this. We don't want to cause panic if it fails. Anna felt a wave of disappointment, but she trusted the hierarchy. She bowed her head. Thank you, Victoria. I appreciate you taking the time to fix it. Anna left the office, completely unaware that she had just handed her life's work to a predator. 2 weeks passed. Anna returned to her regular routine. She waited anxiously for an update from Victoria. She sent 2 polite emails asking if the project needed any further technical adjustments. Victoria never replied. Anna assumed the CFO was simply too busy dealing with the company's financial crisis. Then, on a Tuesday morning, a company-wide email announcement went out. The subject line read, Emergency All-Hands Meeting. The Future of Nexus Tech. Anna walked into the main auditorium, along with hundreds of her colleagues. The room was buzzing with nervous energy. Rumors flew around that the company was going to announce bankruptcy. Anna took a seat near the back, her stomach turning with anxiety. The lights dimmed, and the CEO walked onto the stage. He looked happier than he had in years. He took the microphone and smiled warmly at the crowd. Thank you all for coming, the CEO announced. As you know, our company has faced severe headwinds recently. Many of you have been worried about your jobs. But today, I am thrilled to tell you that those dark days are officially over. We have been saved, and we have one brilliant leader to thank for it. The screen behind the CEO lit up. Anna gasped. Her breath left her lungs. There, in massive bold letters, was the title, Project Phoenix, Revolutionary Aerospace Architecture by Victoria Vance, CFO. Anna stared in absolute horror. The presentation on the screen was exactly hers. It used her charts. It used her exact design data. It even used the specific color scheme she had spent hours choosing. But Anna's name was nowhere to be found. Victoria's name was printed in gold letters on every single slide. Victoria walked onto the stage to a thunderous round of applause. She looked radiant. She wore a sparkling new suit. She waved to the crowd like a conquering hero. She took the microphone and began to speak. Thank you, everyone, Victoria said, her voice dripping with false humility. When I saw the financial struggles of our company, I knew I couldn't just sit in my office. I spent the last year working late into the night. I pushed my limits to design a completely new propulsion architecture. I built this from the ground up to save our company and protect your jobs. The crowd cheered loudly. Some people even stood up to applaud. Anna sat frozen in her seat. She felt like she had been hit by a train. The room seemed to spin. Her chest tightened so much she could barely breathe. Tears of anger and shock welled up in her eyes. The woman on the stage was lying to the entire company. She was stealing the credit for 14 months of Anna's sleepless nights. Anna looked around. Nobody was looking at her. Nobody knew the truth. She was completely invisible. After the presentation, the CEO announced that Victoria was being promoted to Executive Vice President. She was also being awarded the $2 million performance bonus. Anna couldn't take it anymore. She stood up and hurried out of the auditorium. She ran to the quietest restroom she could find, locked herself in a stall, and wept silently. The injustice was crushing. She had built a ladder, and Victoria had used it to climb to the stars while stepping on Anna's face. Later that afternoon, Anna gathered every ounce of courage she had. She walked up to the executive floor. Her anger had replaced her sadness. She wanted answers. She demanded them. She walked past Victoria's secretary without stopping and pushed open the heavy oak door to the CFO's office. Victoria was sitting at her desk, sipping a glass of expensive champagne. She looked up, her expression turning cold the moment she saw Anna. "Anna, you do not enter my office without an appointment," Victoria said sharply. "How could you do this?" Anna whispered, her voice trembling with rage. "That was my project, my designs, my mathematical models. You told me it had holes. You told me it was flawed. You stole my work and put your name on it." Victoria didn't look guilty at all. She calmly set her glass down. She leaned back and looked at Anna with total contempt. "Listen to me very carefully, you insignificant little girl," Victoria said, her voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. "Nobody cares who designed the valves. The corporate world doesn't care about quiet little engineers hiding in cubicles. They care about results. They care about leadership. I am the one who presented it. I am the one who packaged it. Therefore, it is my project. I will go to HR. I will go to the CEO." Anna cried out. Victoria let out a harsh, cruel laugh. "Go ahead. Try it. Who do you think they will believe? A low-level engineer with no political power, or the CFO who just saved the entire company? I have already transferred all the project files to my personal secure server. As far as the company records are concerned, I created everything. If you say a single word to anyone, I will ensure you are fired for corporate espionage and slander. I will ruin your reputation so completely that you will never work in the tech industry again. You will be blacklisted. Do you understand me?" Anna stared at her. She realized, with a sickening certainty, that Victoria was right. Victoria controlled the narrative. She controlled the executives. Anna had no proof left on the company's systems, because Victoria had cleared her access. "Now," Victoria said, pointing a manicured finger at the door, "get back to your desk and do your job. And remember your place." Anna walked out, completely defeated. She felt broken. The corporate machine had crushed her, and the thief had won. A month passed. Project Phoenix was moving into its implementation phase. Because Victoria didn't actually understand how the physics of the system worked, the project began to run into minor testing issues. Victoria, of course, forced Anna to fix the design flaws behind the scenes. Anna did the work silently. She was terrified of being blacklisted. She needed her salary to pay her mortgage. She felt like a ghost inhabiting her own life. Then, a massive wave of excitement hit Nexus Tech. It was announced that a consortium of international investors had officially bought controlling stake in the company. This injection of capital would fund the global rollout of Project Phoenix. And the leader of that investment group was none other than Elon Musk. Elon Musk was a legend in the technology world. He was known for his intense work ethic, his hatred of corporate bureaucracy, and his incredible ability to spot genius. He was a man who worked on the factory floors alongside his engineers. He didn't care about fancy suits or expensive titles. He cared about reality. The entire executive team at Nexus Tech went into a state of absolute panic. They spent days cleaning the offices, preparing reports, and practicing their presentations. Victoria was in her element. She saw this as her chance to impress the richest man in the world. If she could charm Elon Musk, she could land a massive job at one of his global mega companies. The day of the big meeting arrived. Elon Musk's private jet landed, and a fleet of black SUVs arrived at the Nexus Tech headquarters. Elon walked into the grand boardroom. He looked casual, wearing a simple dark jacket and a t-shirt. He was surrounded by his personal team of top-tier engineers and rocket scientists. The CEO of Nexus Tech welcomed him with excessive flattery. Elon simply nodded politely, wanting to skip the pleasantries. "Let's get straight to the point," Elon said, sitting down at the massive conference table. "I am here because of the new aerospace design, Project Phoenix. The numbers look incredible on paper. If it works, it's a game changer for satellite deployment. I want to see how it works under the hood." The CEO smiled proudly and turned to the side. "Of course, Mr. Musk. Allow me to introduce the brilliant mastermind behind the project, our Executive Vice President and CFO, Victoria Vance. She designed the entire system herself." Victoria stood up, flashing her most dazzling corporate smile. She walked to the front of the room, confidence radiating from her. She looked at Elon Musk, expecting him to be impressed by her title and appearance. "Thank you, Mr. Musk," Victoria said smoothly. "It is an honor. Project Phoenix was a labor of love for me. I spent months developing this architecture to solve our propulsion issues." She began her presentation. She spoke beautifully. She used grand words like synergy, paradigm shift, and optimized financial scaling. She clicked through the slides with perfect timing. The Nexus Tech executives in the room nodded along proudly. They thought she was doing a fantastic job. But Elon Musk wasn't nodding. He leaned back in his chair, his eyes narrowed. He wasn't looking at Victoria's expensive suit. He was looking at the technical blueprints on the screen. As an engineer himself, Elon could instantly see the deep, intricate physics embedded in the system design. It was the work of a deeply scientific mind. A mind that spent years dealing with fluid dynamics and thermal stress. Elon looked at Victoria. He looked at her flawless manicure. He listened to her corporate buzzwords. Something didn't add up. Elon interrupted Victoria right in the middle of a sentence. "Victoria," Elon said, his voice calm but incredibly sharp. "Let's skip the marketing slides. Let's look at the mechanical blueprints. On slide 12, you show a unique fluid throttling valve. It uses a custom pressure management protocol to prevent fuel line rupture. Can you explain why you chose that specific metallic alloy over a standard titanium weave?" The room went dead silent. The temperature in the boardroom seemed to drop 20 degrees. Victoria froze. Her smile faltered for a fraction of a second. Her heart began to hammer against her ribs. She didn't know what a titanium weave even meant. She was a financial officer. She had only memorized the high-level talking points that Anna had written for her. "Well, Mr. Musk," Victoria stammered, trying to regain her composure. "We chose that metal because it optimizes our manufacturing cost metrics. It ensures maximum efficiency for our budget." Elon's expression turned completely cold. "I didn't ask about the budget, Victoria. I asked about the pressure management. That valve relies on a very specific, advanced physics principle. How did you resolve the thermal expansion issues inherent in that specific design during peak atmospheric friction simulations?" Victoria felt a cold sweat break out on the back of her neck. The executives around the table looked at her, their smiles slowly fading. They could see she was struggling. We handled that during the testing phase," Victoria said, her voice shaking slightly. "My team and I ensured that all thermal issues were resolved before deployment." "Your team?" Elon asked, raising an eyebrow. "The CEO just said you designed this entirely by yourself. Did you invent the specific valve, or did a team build it?" "I designed the core framework," Victoria said quickly, her voice growing desperate. "The execution was handled by subordinates. You know how it is, Mr. Musk. Executives create the vision, and the workers do the manual labor." Elon turned to his own chief engineer, a quiet man sitting next to him. The engineer whispered something into Elon's ear. Elon nodded slowly. He looked back at Victoria, his eyes filled with absolute disdain. He could smell the lie from a mile away. Elon had spent his entire life dealing with corporate talkers who tried to take credit for the work of quiet geniuses. He loathed them. Elon closed his laptop with a sharp snap. "Victoria," Elon said quietly, "you didn't design a single part of this machine. You don't even understand how it works." The boardroom gasped. The CEO stood up, panicked. "Mr. Musk, I assure you, Victoria is the head of this project." "Quiet," Elon commanded, raising a hand. The CEO instantly sat back down, his face pale. Elon looked directly at Victoria, who was now trembling with a mixture of fear and intense embarrassment. "I want to speak with the person who actually built this," Elon said firmly. "I want the real engineer, the one who actually solved the thermal expansion formula, and I want to speak with her only." Down on the lower floors, Anna was sitting at her small cubicle. She was working on a mundane data entry task, feeling completely disconnected from the excitement upstairs. She figured the meeting was going perfectly for Victoria. She assumed Victoria was currently being showered with praise by Elon Musk. Anna felt a deep, dull ache in her heart. She accepted that her hard work would never be recognized. Suddenly, the heavy double doors of the engineering floor burst open. The company's HR director and the chief technology officer came rushing down the aisle. Their faces were flushed with panic. They looked around wildly until their eyes landed on Anna. They ran straight to her desk. "Anna, stand up. You need to come upstairs right now," the HR director gasped, catching her breath. Anna blinked in confusion. "What? Why? Did I do something wrong?" "No time to explain. Elon Musk has demanded to see you. He is waiting in the main boardroom. Move now," the CTO urged, gesturing wildly toward the elevators. Anna's heart began to race. Elon Musk wanted to see her? How did he even know her name? Had Victoria finally carried out her threat to have her fired and ruined? Anna felt a wave of pure terror. She walked toward the elevator like a prisoner walking to the gallows. When the elevator doors opened on the executive floor, the hallway was completely silent. Security guards stood outside the boardroom doors. The HR director pushed the door open and gently nudged Anna inside. Anna stepped into the massive room. The sight before her was shocking. All the Nexus Tech executives were sitting in absolute, terrified silence. Victoria was standing in the corner of the room. Her face was completely drained of color. Her flawless hair looked disheveled. She looked like she wanted the floor to swallow her alive. She wouldn't even look Anna in the eye. At the head of the table sat Elon Musk. When Anna entered, Elon looked up. His expression softened. He stood up from his chair, a rare, genuine smile appearing on his face. "Are you Anna?" Elon asked. "Yes, sir," Anna whispered, her voice barely audible. "Come, take a seat," Elon said, gesturing to the empty leather chair right next to him. Anna walked over with trembling legs and sat down. She felt incredibly small in the grand room, surrounded by powerful billionaires and executives. Elon opened his laptop and turned it toward her. On the screen was the exact design blueprint for Project Phoenix. "Anna," Elon said gently, "I was just looking at this pressure management protocol and the core valve system. It is an incredibly elegant solution to fluid dynamics. Can you explain to me the logic behind why you designed it this way?" Anna looked at the blueprint. The moment her eyes hit the familiar lines and calculations, all her fear vanished. This wasn't corporate politics. This wasn't a game of intimidation. This was her design. This was her baby. She knew every single calculation, every single tolerance, and every single fluid loop. She had spent a year of her life with this physics model. Anna took a deep breath. Her voice grew steady and confident. "Of course, Mr. Musk," Anna said clearly. "The standard titanium weave expands under extreme thermal friction. That expansion narrows the fuel line, creating a pressure bottleneck. So, I created a dynamic bypass valve. It compensates for thermal expansion by shifting the flow pattern based on heat sensors. It entirely keeps the pressure stable during peak acceleration." As Anna spoke, Elon Musk's eyes lit up. He leaned in, listening intently. Anna didn't stop there. She grabbed a marker, walked over to the grand whiteboard on the wall, and began to sketch out the entire propulsion system from memory. She wrote equations. She drew thermal zones. She explained the deep mechanical realities of the project with absolute precision and passion. Elon's chief engineer was nodding vigorously, a massive smile on his face. Elon himself was grinning from ear to ear. For 30 minutes, Anna captivated the room. She proved, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that she was the absolute, true creator of Project Phoenix. Victoria stood in the corner, shrinking smaller and smaller with every word Anna spoke. The lie was completely stripped away. The truth was burning bright for everyone to see. When Anna finished her explanation, she lowered the marker. The boardroom was completely silent for a moment. Then Elon Musk began to clap. His team joined in. Soon, the other Nexus Tech executives joined the applause, realizing which way the wind was blowing. Anna smiled softly, a massive weight lifting off her shoulders. For the first time in her life, she felt truly seen. Elon stood up and turned his attention to the CEO of Nexus Tech. His smile disappeared, replaced by a cold, commanding look. It is completely obvious who built this technology, Elon said firmly. And it is equally obvious that your executive leadership is completely corrupt. I do not invest in companies that allow parasites to steal from their creators. The CEO trembled. Mr. Musk, I apologize completely. We were deceived by Victoria. We had no idea. Fix it. Elon interrupted coldly. Right now. The CEO turned immediately to Victoria. His voice was filled with absolute fury. Victoria Vance, you are stripped of your title effective immediately. You are fired for gross misconduct, corporate fraud, and intellectual dishonesty. You will leave this building immediately. Security will escort you out. Your $2 million bonus is permanently revoked, and our legal team will be reviewing your actions for potential criminal prosecution. Victoria looked like she was going to faint. The power she had held so tightly just an hour ago had completely vanished. She had tried to steal her way to the top, and instead, she had fallen into a deep abyss of ruin. 2 security guards walked into the room. They grabbed Victoria by the arms and led her out of the boardroom. She wept openly, her corporate mask completely shattered. Anna watched her leave. She didn't feel happy about Victoria's ruin, but she felt a profound sense of justice. The snake had finally been caught. Elon Musk turned back to Anna. He looked at her with deep respect. Anna, Elon said, a genius like you shouldn't be hidden away in a lower floor cubicle. You shouldn't be working for people who don't even understand the beauty of your work. I am taking over this company, and I need someone I can trust to run the entire technology division. Anna blinked in shock. Sir, I am appointing you as the new Chief Technology Officer of Nexus Tech, Elon announced. Your salary will be quadrupled. You will receive the full $2 million bonus that was wrongfully given away today, and you will have complete creative freedom to build whatever you want. You will report directly to me. What do you say? Anna felt tears of joy stream down her face. She had spent years working in the shadows, expecting nothing. She had suffered the ultimate betrayal, but she had stayed true to her passion. And now, she was being elevated to the highest heights of the corporate world. Thank you, Mr. Musk, Anna said, her voice filled with deep gratitude. I accept. I won't let you down. I know you won't. Elon smiled, shaking her hand firmly. You built the Phoenix. Now it's time to watch it fly. Anna walked out of the boardroom that day not as an invisible engineer, but as a leader. She had proven that true brilliance cannot be stolen forever. Lies can only run for so long before the truth catches up and destroys them completely. From that day forward, Anna ran the technology division with kindness, honesty, and deep respect for her workers. She made sure that every single engineer under her leadership received full credit for their ideas. She became the boss she always wished she had. And Victoria Vance became a distant, cautionary memory. A reminder to the entire corporate world that you should never, ever steal credit from the person who actually built the machine. What an incredible journey of justice and triumph. Anna's story reminds us all that true talent and hard work will always find a way to shine, no matter how hard someone tries to hide it. If you love this story, please give this video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to share it with your friends and family who believe in fairness and hard work. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next inspiring story.